All right. All right. So I need how about I need 5 volunteers. So if you're volunteering, come on and follow Chris. Jeff. For some reason, for the last couple of weeks, I've been wanting to call you Chris all the time, and I'm not sure why. I need 3 more volunteers. All right. 2 more volunteers. 2 more volunteers. Well, I don't know. I need 2 more volunteers. There they come. There they come. Yay. All right. Yep. No. May I have 5? Okay, good. All right. Execute. Blindfolds. All right. Blindfold it. Nope. Blindfold. We're trusting your honesty. You can trust the trustee. All right. Come right on in. We can see if they'd have come just a second before, they would have just been one of the volunteers. Okay. Now, what I need you to do is order your team from, all right, so you're all facing forward. So from your right to your left, based on age. Do not speak. Yeah, you cannot speak to one another, but you must order yourself from oldest to youngest, right to left. You cannot talk, but you need to order yourselves oldest to youngest, right to left. All right, when you feel satisfied with it, let me know. That you can say. Or yeah, there you go. All right. So I got 2 thumbs up. I got a well, whatever. Okay. All right. So take your blindfolds off, and hope this is all right to ask. But starting on your right, let's have ages.
72, 60, 58, 56, 49.
Wow. Okay. Good. Have a seat.
Are we going to keep these?
No, you can put those right there on that front table. Now, I need 5 more volunteers that were not volunteers the first time. I need 5 more volunteers up here. We'll wait. There's one. I need 4 more volunteers. There's 2. We'll wait. I need 3 more. There's 1. I need 2 more. I need 1 more. No, if you've already volunteered, you've already volunteered.
You need 1 more.
I need 1 more. All right. It's always good to gather information. All right. Same thing. Load up. Load up. Load up.
Right.
Load up. All right. Now, I would like you to line up from your right to left based on how far away from Ferguson you grew up. No talking allowed.
To the right is
To your right. Yeah, closer is on the right.
on the right.
Closest to Ferguson is on the right. And again, when you think you're done, you can thumbs up it. Just don't end up in the parking lot. If you're done, you can give me the thumbs up. Not quite. Wait a minute. All right. Got an adjustment, final adjustment taking place. Indecision. Okay. Take your blindfolds off. Okay. So, starting on the right, tell us where you grew up, how far away that is from here.
Just a mile down the road behind what's now Snowy's Donuts on Maurice.
Okay.
It was a Chuckaburger back in the day.
Oh, really? Okay. I like Chuckaburger. All right.
These guys must really live far away. I was brought up in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
About 200 miles.
All right.
I grew up in Bismarck and Tennessee, about an hour and a half away.
Ooh.
Uh,
So that's
what, 60 miles?
okay. So you two are out of order.
It was a lot slower to get here.
Yes, you should. You two should change. And
Kentucky, about 350 miles.
about 350 miles away in Kentucky. And really, I will tell you that having grown up in Ohio, you got the river, Cincinnati. You cross the river, you're in Kentucky, and you have gone 1,000,000 miles. I mean, the accent and everything is a dramatic change from Ohio to Kentucky. All right, God's country. Ohio is. It's a great place. And all right. And Denver, Colorado. So you guys were very, very close. One, and you guys were not that far difference. You know, it would have been about 50 yards difference, 50 miles difference between the two of you, right? Okay. All right. Very good. Have a seat. I need 5 more volunteers. These are my last volunteers. I need 5 volunteers that have not been volunteered already. So faster you make it, the faster we move on. All right. I need 5 new volunteers. Come on now. Will it help if I tell you that we will not be using blindfolds on this one? I need 3 more.
I'll do it.
All right, there's 2. I need 1 more. I need 1 more. I need one more.
Come on, Ruth, get up here.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
He's still asleep.
Get up here, Ruth. Yeah.
There we go.
okay.
That's persuasion.
It is. All right, I want you to line up from right to left based on how long it has been since you professed Jesus Christ as Lord. Go.
Wow.
Do we get to talk?
Go based on what I said.
Honesty. Here.
Wait, which side is?
Shortest to longest.
Everybody got to stand right behind each other.
I'm 30.
No one said that.
We could talk.
We got
This is the longest.
No. From shortest to longest.
Well, you know.
You guys ready? Okay. Talk about when you gave your heart to Christ,
I was 16 years old.
Which-
In Top Falls, Texas.
which was
30 years ago.
okay. Ruth?
No, in my 20s, and it was here. It's hard to explain because you're probably wondering that. So I grew up in a church, my dad being a pastor, I think I got saved 100 times. But when I came here, I don't even know who was preaching. And whatever they said, I knew I needed to trust Jesus as my Savior. I thought I had, but I knew that from that moment is when my heart was changed, and it was early 20s here.
And so how long ago has that been?
40 years. Something like that.
Put nobody on the spot.
All right.
Louder, louder.
1977, Campus Crusade for Christ was who helped me find a personal relationship with Christ. So however long it is, it's over 40, you know that.
45.
Okay.
Born in 76.
I'm like, oh, man, somebody's got a math wizard. Right here in this very room when I was 9,
Yay.
and in this very room, way up there.
This used to be the worship center. This used to be the worship center.
And I was 9 years old, so that was over 50 years. Over 50 Yeah. The highest we count is in 6s. And then we subdivide, so it's okay.
And I was in 1954, right in this room, right in here, when this is Branson Hall. Brother Branson was here back in 1954.
So, wait. So you said 70.
77.
Okay. You said, wait, 77. So I go here, 1969. August 9th, 1969 in Niles, Ohio, in my bedroom on a Saturday night by myself. And so I go right here. This summer was 53 years. Wow, 53. All right. Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about these three things, and then we're going to do one other, and then I'm going to show you a video. So, yes,
You said you've been saved 80 years.
since 19.
I don't remember the year.
19, I don't remember the year. I got you. Right? They weren't numbering back then. Yeah, I understand. Yes, sir. 1953. Anybody else want to share?
1958.
Anyone else? 73?
86. 2005.
Anybody else? Testify? All right. And if you don't know that you know that you know, let's settle that today. All right. Um, you know, I didn't know the date because I was 4.5 years old. I knew it was a Saturday, and I knew it was 1969, and I knew it was August, but we didn't have, when you were 4.5 years old, you didn't know what date it was. I knew what day it was. But my father kept a record. Every time he preached, and my mom has it, and she says she's going to give it to me someday, and I might just have to steal it. But my dad has a ledger that he's kept since he started pastoring. And in that, he writes down every sermon he ever preached. And he writes down what happened that day. And I was in college, and I knew about that ledger, but I'd never really looked at it. And I got to thinking about the date, and I went, oh, I know my dad would have written down the day I came forward. And I know that I wouldn't have waited more than a day to come forward. And I knew I came forward on a Sunday night, so I went and got my dad's book, and I turned it, and on August the 10th, 1969, in the Sunday evening service, it says, Jimmy, that's a guy I used to know, it says Jimmy gave his heart to Christ. And so I was able to say then it was August 9th. And I came forward again a week later. My dad didn't think I was old enough to know what I was talking about, so he had a deacon and his wife spend a few days talking to me, and they came back and said, preacher, he knows what he's doing. And so he said, well, I'm going to wait and see what he does. And so the next Sunday I came forward again, and he thought, well, he doesn't understand. Son, what do you want? Well, Dad, I was just curious when you're going to baptize me, like the Bible says I need to be baptized when I give my heart to Christ. And so he baptized me on August the 17th, 1969, the next week. So, or no, the 24th. So that was 17th. I came forward again, and 24th he baptized me. So, all right. So let's talk about these three. So I gave you the first one, and the second one you were not allowed to talk. First one was by your age. Second one was how far away you were. So talk to me about what would have made that easier. What would have made those easier? Especially those first two. What? Talking, communication would have made that easier. What else? If you couldn't talk, what would have made it? Foreknowledge. So you knew who was with you. Okay. Blindfolds off. What else?
I'm sure we could have come up with some sort of hand signals or something.
If you'd had long enough to think about it and process it and decide. As it turns out, you guys got it right? Didn't we? Yeah, first one you got it right. Okay. All right. What about anything about the second one that would have been easier? It was pretty close. You guys missed it by one. Knowing more about them, which generally doesn't happen by accident, right? What enables us to know people better?
Communication, talking, fellowshipping.
Anything else?
Accent, I was knew Howard was from another world.
And I'm telling you, in Kentucky, it's just like that. And it's y'all, and you cross the river, and it's you guys. It's amazing. Like I had cousins in Kentucky and aunt and uncle, and then we were in Ohio, and I'm like, man, what woods are you guys in? You know? All right. What about the last one? Anything? What would have made that easier?
Communication again.
Or maybe I should say, what made that easier?
Did you get see?
Correct. You cannot just assume age. That's very good. Yes. History. How did we end up with 5 and not 4? You said it. What did you say? We only had 4 up here.
Peer pressure.
What was the word you used? I'm trying to think. No, there was. I can't remember now. Now I thought of it just a minute ago. Persuasion. That's what you said. That's why. Yeah, persuasion. There was an invitation and persuasion, and isn't that sort of what leading people to Christ is, right? And that's kind of what we were dealing with there, and so words of persuasion and invitation. Very, very good. All right, now you should have enough people at your table to. So I'm going to have you talk. I'm going to throw some events out. So the idea here is that every change changes everything. And I notice I did that for a reason. It's not everything, but everything. Every change changes everything. So I'm going to throw some dates out. And in a group of 2 or 3 at your table, I want you to just list about 3 things that changed because of these events. And just write them down, talk about them for a minute, and then we'll share those things together in just a second. All right? All right, so we're not going to spend a whole long time here, but I want us to talk about it. So I'll give them to you. These are kind of in chronological order, some big events. Rosa Parks refuses to move to the back of the bus. Every change changes everything. So just talk with a couple of people beside you and write a couple of things down. Talk about it with them. So don't just start writing. Talk. Rosa Parks refuses to move to the back of the bus. Write down about 3 things. All right, we're going to move on because we got a bunch of these that I want to throw out. How about 1960? That was 1955, by the way. 1960, birth control pill introduced. How about in 1957, Medical Association links smoking with lung cancer? Every change changes everything. Medical Association links smoking with lung cancer in 1957. All right. Let me give you another one. 1972. This is life-changing stuff right here. Atari introduces Pong. Atari introduced the game Pong in 1972. Every change changes everything. This could be great. All right, let's move on. 1969. 1969, first man walks on the moon. 1969, first man walks on the moon. And there are those of us that can remember that day. I remember it. I remember being in somebody's living room after church on a Sunday night when that happened.
No conspiracy, right?
No. It didn't happen out in western New Mexico somewhere. All right. $1954, first McDonald's restaurant opens. 1954, first McDonald's restaurant opens. A minute. All right, 1963, Kennedy was assassinated. Every change changes everything. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. I'm going to start moving on these a little faster because I got a few I want to get to. Kennedy assassinated 1963. Just grab 1 or 2 changes from that change. What? All right, 1962, the Beatles made their debut. 1962, Beatles made their debut. And we know they came to the States in 64, but 1962, the Beatles made their debut.
Right.
1971, first VCR was invented. 1971. 1975, the first personal computer.
Say it again.
1975, first personal computer was marketed. In other words, it wasn't the size of a living room like it was in the 50s and 60s. First personal computer marketed 1975. Every change changes everything. All right. 1979, Iran holds 66 Americans hostage. 1979. 1979, Iran takes 66 Americans hostage. Every change changes everything. 1981, AIDS was identified. 1981, AIDS. Every change changes everything. 1999, we're jumping way ahead. 1999, shooting at Columbine High School. Shooting at Columbine, 1999. Every change changes everything. 2000, presidential election. Hanging Chad, Florida recount. 2000, the presidential election with the recount and the hanging Chads in Florida and all of that. Every change changes everything. 2000 election. 2001 and 2002, we have September 11th and then the Iraq War. Let's put those together. September 11th, 2001, along with in 2002, the war in Iraq. Every change changes everything. (2008) housing crash. 2008 housing crash.
Oh, that's a big one. That's still affecting people right now.
Every change changes everything. 2014, Ferguson, Missouri, Mike Brown. Every change changes everything. Mike Brown death here in Ferguson, 2014. All right, just a couple more. 2020, COVID. 2020, COVID pandemic. Every change changes everything. 2020, George Floyd's death and the unrest. 2020, same year, George Floyd, along with the two other murders that happened that year. The unrest that followed. All right, I got one more. This is the last one. And then we're going to talk about them for a minute. And we got one other thing, and then we'll take a break. All right? 2022, 333 North Florissant Road is sold to the North American Mission Board and Send Relief. 333 North Florissant Road was sold to NAM and Send Relief. Every change changes everything. Go ahead and put down a few things there. All right. Let's come back together. Let's talk about some of these. So let's do this.
go table to table.
That's kind of what I was going to do. And what I want you to do on the table is give us one that you really liked and that's jumping out you want to talk about. Then we get to the next table. Don't talk about that one. Okay? Until we, so we'll come back around. All right. What do you got?
For Rosa,
Yeah?
we began to integrate our society.
All right. Began to integrate society. Anyone want to add something to Rosa that civil rights? Anybody want to add anything to Rosa? Women's rights.
Black and white conflict.
Black and white conflict in the forefront rather than, yes, in the forefront. Yeah.
We could talk about it then.
We had to talk about it then. Yes. Anyone else want to add something to that?
It gave a lot of the country knowledge that they didn't have any idea what's going on.
That's true. Parts of the country, sure. Yep.
A story.
A start. I like that. I like that. Somebody has to change for change to happen. Yes, a catalyst. Anybody else to Rosa? All right, next table, you don't have to go in order, but if you want to pick one off your list that's a hot one for you, you can. So what do you guys got? Somebody take the lead back there. No, I said it doesn't have to be the next one, just anyone that you want to talk about. How change changed everything. All right. Why does that not surprise me, Steve? Go ahead. Tell us.
It really, I think, opened up the door to technology advancement.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Atari.
The Atari. Make sure everybody knew where Steve was. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, that really opened up technology advancement. They put it in the homes of everybody, and I think that began.
Really?
As
Yeah.
well as video addiction.
Well, yes. But no, you have a point there because, and it's interesting how many things start with a game. But it's a game is what everybody can connect to, and then it changes everything, not just a game. Like Tang changed everything. It's just a little breakfast drink, but it really changed everything, right? Anybody want to add anything about Atari?
It brought families together.
Okay, brought families together. Some part of the families were saying, get off of that, and others were saying, give me a turn, right? Okay. All right.
We actually had the opposite. Began a disengagement.
Okay. So.
It's now to the point where parents say, here's my phone, leave me alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Less than 2 years.
Uh-huh. Anybody else want to add anything to the Atari change? Yes, sir.
Atari is really an outgrowth of the moonshot. The moonshot was an explosion in technology,
Yes.
especially in electronics.
Yep. If you guys didn't catch that, and if you're watching this, we are recording this for online. The Atari was an outgrowth of the moonshot, and that changed everything to get us there. And I mentioned Tang, but again, that's part of space. If we're not creating things for that, we don't have what we have.
Velcro was another one.
Velcro came from, yeah, every change changes everything. People wonder, why are we spending all this money to go to the moon or whatever? But it truly is a life-changing issue, okay?
I like Pong better than I did Atari because it was eye and hand coordination that way to hit
Sure.
the ball and keep it going. I like Super Atari.
All right. When AJ was 10 months old, I bought him his first Nintendo. Yeah, that's right. Some of you men used the same argument to buy your first Nintendo. All right. Go to this table back here. Give us one off of your list. A different topic.
9/11,
Okay, talk about it.
fear, uncertainty, sadness,
What was the last one?
sadness.
Sadness.
We didn't feel safe anymore in our own country.
Didn't feel safe any longer in our own country.
Yeah, because it's on our turf.
Kind of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Big changes in,
Okay, I mean,
flying, travel.
we can have to.
Complete.
I'm gonna go with this.
TSA.
You know, they used
Gotta stick to it.
raise
It is okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back around.
After
We'll have to go to the table again.
Anybody else want to add anything about 9/11?
Back on American soil, that we never thought would happen.
Right, right.
Pearl Harbor, but with the,
Yeah, Pearl Harbor was still over there for most of us. Yeah.
but there was an immediate connection of everybody. We had a common goal, we had a common enemy. We all worked together. Everybody waved a flag. It was just like all of a sudden we were one country again, which lasted for a couple of years.
Seen around the world, no matter where you were,
Mm-hmm.
you were part of it. Even in the middle of country Chile, everybody was there, knowing what had happened and concerned about Americans.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, we know that the Bible came back again. Was 9/11 hit. All the churches were coming together. And it's kind of sad that it had to be a devastation like that for people to start using God again. And God we trust. And God go help us. And you start seeing a lot of God on TV. A lot of God. You see a lot of people praying. And it was a lot of church going on. You got some people excited again about what God can do and the power of God.
Mm-hmm.
So,
On that line, let me say this and we'll move on to another one that I noticed. And I'll compare two things. In 1991, when we had the first Iraq war that we were a part of, I was staff evangelist at Woodforest Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. And we went overnight from running 700 to running almost 1,100. And we stayed there for a year and settled back in about 950. I was here at First Baptist Ferguson when 9/11 happened. And we got a bump that lasted about a month. That was it.
right.
And then we were back to where we were. I noticed that right off the bat, that our culture had changed. Yes, it got our attention and put us on our knees, but we didn't stay there as a country. Just thought that was something I've obviously never forgotten, those two things together. All right, somebody, let's come up here. What do you guys got? New list.
Well, look, we have a problem.
Okay.
Half of our table wants to emphasize soul, the church being soul, and another half of our table wants about the Beatles.
Half your table, 50% of the both of you.
Half the table. First, let's talk about the Beatles.
Okay, go ahead.
First, let's talk about the Beatles. Now, the reason why that is important because it started putting an attention on performance and, performance. And so churches started being like the performer situation. So where you see something in front of you and you back off and enjoy the performance.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want to comment.
The other half of the table,
I want to comment on that.
the one that was not born when the Beatles began, okay?
Beatles, they did bring, a new generation of people and culture. And the culture, when they brought it, they see what the kind of money they could generate. And the people came together through the music, and you got another whole country and America coming together. So it was a booming time when money was going and people were having fun, dancing and laughing, and the kids in the new generation. So it was a change. But the other part of our table, we want to talk about the 333 here and the being sold. And I came on, it got a few things here. Is leadership, we got love, you know, a future, and it's growth and diversity. And all them things together, a church has to have to to strive and to continue to move. Because if you're not moving,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen it a lot in, you know, in the black church in in the city, and they don't move and they just die. And you should always be wanting to move, growing, and whatever you have to do sometime to grow, you have to do it because it really ain't about you, it's about the generation to come. And you got to have something there for them as they get older, because everybody got grandkids here or great grandkids, and they got to have somewhere to go, and you gonna want them to go somewhere that's sound, you know. And if they don't have nowhere to sound, then they'll be like the wind, and they'll go wherever it blows. And that's not the kind of people we want to be. If we got a sound foundation, and you went there, grandmama went there, it had to be the place to go, you know. And it had sound men there were bringing the word of God, not just talking.
Mm. So what you're saying is that even though it's been a hard day's night, we don't live in a yellow submarine and we need to come together. Is that what you're saying? Thank you. Thank you. About 4 seconds. So that's what I think. And it is a long and winding road. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. You know, and yesterday is. Here comes the sun. All right. Well, we're dads and granddads, so we got a double portion. Anybody want to add to either of those, the Beatles or the sale of the building? Anybody want to add anything to that before we move to the last two tables? Yep.
I think part of what both of them were talking about ties into this book that you shared with the elders, which many churches thrive for a season because of one of the three P's: people, personality, got the other one. The place, you know, and that's nice for a start, but it's not enough to keep a church together.
Right.
The program might be nice for a while, but what about the next program? You mentioned about the children that have been lost. I've seen it too in black churches where the adults are so happy to be together that sometimes the kids are forgotten to the point where they wonder why the kids aren't going to the church when you never invested anything.
Right.
So I think those are things that I'm excited about with this new beginning, with the sale, and that hopefully we can be authentic enough that people see more than just the people, the program, the place, and understand that there's something real here.
Right.
Although I'm sad, I'm also happy because I'm glad that we're still on mission.
Mm-hmm.
The community, I see the community as a great mission field that we have out here. These kids that we have in Awanas, they're unchurched. Their parents are unchurched. Sometimes we're the first people that have ever told them about Jesus. That is a tremendous thing, especially when they come from a world where parents don't talk to each other, maybe don't treat them so well. We give them a taste of what the Father's love is to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that we're at least mission.
The most diverse thing that is happening right now at First Baptist Church Ferguson is Awana on Wednesday nights. It really is. And it's pretty much 50-50. And it's the only place in our church that is that way right now.
I think there's one other element of the Beatles, and I read about this or heard about this on a kind of a retrospect, is that the Beatles coming from England.
Mm-hmm.
They were certainly counterculture. They encountered a number of times, and I think it's one of the things that actually ended up leading to their breakup. They got tired of having to fight to have integrated concerts. That was one of the things that they absolutely stressed. And they would go. I think they had a concert in Birmingham, and they were going to say, "Oh, well, no, the blacks can't come in." Like, no, you're letting them in. Oh, okay, we'll put them in this corner. No, you got to let them in everywhere, or else we're not going to play.
Right.
And they were so big and had such power that they could influence even that segregated society.
Right.
Which is really what the church ought to do.
Right.
I think.
Absolutely. Yep. The Beatles and Elvis were happening at the same time, and they were both doing the same thing in that specific subject. All right, we need to. This is great, and we're driving a point home here. Is there any particular for either of these groups a topic that you felt like we needed to kind of talk about that we haven't talked about?
The 2000 election.
Yes.
Well, we kind of ignore that. That was kind of the beginning of, I don't trust you. I don't trust election results. I don't trust anybody that's not in my party.
Yep.
And now we're at a time that sometimes we don't even trust people that believe the same thing we do.
Yep.
And so I think mistrust began in 2000 and continues to get stronger.
I agree. I heard you say that a while ago, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because I think the beginning of the divisiveness, yes, we always had disagreed and elections went, but that distrust. Correct. I agree with that.
It even started before then, though, with the cancer and tobacco industry, whereas the tobacco industry was trying to tell us it really wasn't.
Oh, no, they weren't. Yeah. My grandfather, when he lost his voice box in the mid-50s because of smoking cigars, his doctor told him, "You got to quit smoking because it's killing you," and he had a pack of cigarettes in his pocket. His doctor did. So yeah. Anything you guys want to add?
In regards to smoking, advertisement way back when, they used to say that smoking was good for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Gives you energy. It gives you this. Gives you that. Yeah.
And all the movie stars had it. In the old film,
Oh, sure.
everybody was smoking. So that
Yeah.
was the thing to do, so you just get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, 400,000 a week were given away.
College students.
Yes. Yep. I listened to Abbott and Costello radio broadcasts, and there was a whole segment about that every week. And this week we're honoring so-and-so, and we've given 400,000 cigarettes in his name. Yes, sir.
What about the first man on the moon?
Well, we kind of hit that in that, because basically so many things of our society were added because of the moon rush, if you will. Yes, sir.
Another big thing that is that when the moon shot was over with, there was 400,000 highly trained NASA engineers with nothing else to do. That's where the explosion in the hospital, electronics and machines and capabilities started.
Okay. And by explosion, you mean, in a good way, not some angry engineer. Correct. Right. Right. It truly changed the world. All right. So, yes.
I was just going to say.
All right.
Right down the street, Mike Brown. I think it gave such power to those who profit from division.
Yeah.
And again, we are trying to unite and bring people together under the banner of Jesus, whereas the media and political parties are all sold out into dividing us, into breaking us down, into us and them in 100 different ways.
Right.
And whereas there was an opportunity for Mike Brown and the aftermath of Mike Brown to try and bring us back together, the forces that were arrayed to gain power and money and whatever's prestige by dividing us, I think, were the ones who got the most press and the most.
Right.
I want to say something more about that. There was a big emphasis and a suspicion of the police at that point, and opposition to police, which has, of course, we know other examples where police people have done things that were really wrong, but we depend on our police and have a positive emphasis on
Right. All right, let's do that. I know I don't have my mic, but they can still hear me on there. I want to show you 2 short videos about leadership. If you saw the emails and things, and I said we were going to have a leadership breakfast, that was not a misprint. Leadership are a thing. So I gave you a place there if you want to jot some notes down. What I'd like you to look for in the video, leadership are a species of sheep in the Iceland. I went blank there for a minute. In Iceland, and they are sold in other parts, but they're from Iceland, and they are very unique. And so I want you to. There are a few places where this lady speaks in Icelandic, and so they will have it written underneath. So hopefully you can see that. But I want you to see. I would jot some things down that you see about these sheep, and so like I said, it's a 2-part video, but it's worth it to see. If you need to use the restroom or something, you could do it in the middle of this, but we will take a 5-minute break once we watch these 2 pieces. Yes, you have seen this.
The wheel of death.
Come on.
We all have computers.
I'm telling you.
Personal computer.
Come on.
That's why I like old school. I got a computer, 3.1, still working.
There you go.
There we go.
The farmers who settled Iceland more than 1,100 years ago were very clever. Before they settled, the land was empty, except for the arctic trucks and the birds in the sky. No farming had ever been practiced in Iceland before the settlers arrived, so the land was completely untamed. Breeding a tough and rugged breed of livestock capable of taking care of itself while the farmers settled into their new country was absolutely paramount in order to survive.
Jot down anything you see that you'd like to talk about.
Constrained by rivers and lakes. Because of the country's isolation, and also because of a long-standing ban on the import of livestock, the Icelandic sheep breed is essentially identical to the way it was in the year 1000. Historically, the Icelandic people have been very dependent on the breed, and given it a great deal of attention. For this reason, the Icelandic sheep breed has stayed with its people. Called leadership, which nearly went extinct because of disease and the natural catastrophes which have ravaged Iceland. There is no breed of sheep comparable to it anywhere else in the world. Not everyone can spot the difference between a leader sheep and a normal one at a glance.
Þessar kindur hafa svolítið staðið til hliðar við afastofninn en það senda kynfætur á íslenska fénu í áratugi og þær hafa sjálfsög breyst meðan fósturkindurnar hafa sennilega lítið breyst í útliti. komast mest að koma frá Skandinavíu og það er rannsóknir sem eru til og svona erfðafræði rannsóknir á skynsleika búfjörkynna sem hafa verið svolítið ábyrgandi núna undanfarin ár, svona samvinnuverkefni milli landa, að þá er íslenska féð langt næst og gömlu skandinavísku kynum, fyrst og næst þessu norska. Ég held að þessi lína, þessi stofnar rendastu, þetta er alveg örugglega algengt. Eins og bara maður sér sko að það er hægt að ala fórustukindur, þú var fyrstu kyn, ætt, og góð fórustukyn, hún getur af sig aðra fórustukyn og svo framvegis, þannig að þetta er algengt. Það eru einhverju erfðavísar sem stýra þessu, en þetta er ekki þannig að þetta sé einhver ein stökkbreyting. Og bara einn erfðavísi sem maður segir annað með fórustukyn, ekki fórustukyn. Það er eitthvað flóknara en það.
Once you take a closer look, many differences emerge.
Look at that.
A leader sheep can be of either sex, either a ram, ewe, or a wether, which is a neutered ram.
Sögur af því hversu gáfaðar þessar skepnur eru, af þessu einstaka sambandi manns og skepnu sem mér finnst svolítið merkilegt í þessu, menn líta á þessar skepnur eins og persónur. Ekki bara eins og einhverjar skepnur, heldur eins og einstaklingar.
Leader sheep possess a number of interesting attributes which set them apart from other sheep. They have a natural inclination towards leading the flock. They will normally take the point in the group and control how fast it's moving. Leader sheep will also lead the group and beat out path in storms and heavy going, both of which frequently occur in Iceland. Because of this, they have often saved their owners.
En hafa ekki sérfæskilningur, ég er svona dæmt í hug frá svona sögum veðrabyggðin að það hafa einhvern veginn tilfinningu fyrir loftslýsbreytingu. Við þurfum á loftvæla og þegar hún fellur og þá sjáum við að það er að koma út veður.
They're better at predicting bad weather than ordinary sheep, and will refuse to come out of the barns when they sense that a storm is imminent. When inside, they will normally sit right by the door. One can usually tell leader sheep apart from the normal ones by comparison. Leader sheep are normally taller and slimmer than the rest, with quicker, more intelligent eyes. They follow the movements of nearby people and are warier than other sheep.
Það er engar spurnir af þeim heilst að annars staðar enn hér. Og menn þekkja þetta hreinlega alls ekki. Og þegar maður segir frá þessu útlöndum að þá er svona annað mörgur með trúði. Maður segir hérna ég sé bara að húsur.
The vast majority of them are very colored, formed with a ragged color. They have long legs and a long neck. Don't put on fat. And have more than one gait, like the Icelandic horse. An experiment conducted by the Agricultural University at Carnegie showed that a leader sheep will always take the lead in a flock, even when in a group of sheep which have never met before.
fórstukindurnar eru látum greinilegri forystu að leiða hóp. Það má samt ekki rugla því saman, sko, að þegar að skepnur eru í hóp, að þá yfirleitt alltaf einhver foringi. Og það á við þetta þar alveg frá hæstahópum og gangkomaröðinni og ef þú ert með hrossastóð og ef þú ert með kúahóp eða kindahóp, þar sem ekki eru forystukindur, það er samt einhver röð, það er einhver foringi. Það er ekki það sama og þetta forystu eðli. Það er ekki alveg það sama, þetta er svona valdaröð.
Hang on. Part 2. Should go forward on its own. We'll see. There it goes. Oh yeah, it's part 2. Sorry. That's the world.
Hi, I'm Eric, host.
Thanks, Eric. Part 2.
Leadership have been exported, for instance, to interested farmers in America. They have proved very adaptive to the new country. Although not raised around wolves, for example, they'll realize the dangers associated with them, and will leave their flock home if they hear a wolf.
Ég man eftir því að líklega fyrsti útflutningur á forystukindur verið á vegum hennar Stefaníu Sveinbjarnardóttur sem byrjaði á þessum látin og hún skrifaði sögur af sínum forystukindum eða aðallega einni og hún fullyrti að þær nýttust á sumarbeit í Kanada vegna þess að þær fyndu líka á sér að það væru rándýr í grenndinni.
Many written accounts of the leadership's intelligence exist, as many farmers wrote about their best leadership in their feats. These accounts provide detailed descriptions of the animal's body type, weight, and personality. The animals were often given names which included the name of their farm. These accounts often recount instances where the animals are wiser than humans and take the initiative by acting decisively and sensibly. These are accounts of the animals' vim, intelligence, and mettle, and how often they have proven themselves. Sometimes these accounts of the bond between man and beast verge on the religious, since they deal with abilities that are incomprehensible and inaccessible to humans. A 16th century Icelandic Bible translation mentions the phenomenon by comparing God to a leadership.
Nú til dags þegar við gerum ákveðnar kröfur um hvernig kjöt á að vera, þá er þetta náttúrulega ekki kjötframleiðsluskepnur. Þetta eru ekki afurðaskepnur í þeim skilningi sem við höfum núna. Og þeim er fyrst og fremst viðhaldið vegna þessara sérstöku eiginleika. Þessi munur í holdafari og líkamsbyggingu, sko, ég held að hann sé á mannavöldum að miklu leyti vegna þess að það hefur verið markmið kynbótanna fyrst og fremst að fá betra og meira kjöt og sauðfjársöfn hefur gjörbreyst vegna þess að það hefur verið markmið mjög lengi að fá þéttari líkamsbyggingu þannig að maður fá meira kjöt af að meðan að fórstukið hefur verið sko stíkt frí að þeirri stefnu. Þess samfunna sko inniflafíkun, þess að forða en ekki sko miklum holdum og síðan geta gengið að þennan forða þegar lítið er að éta og síðan mjólka sem er hlutfallslega betur sko heldur að afurðir úr mjólk frekar heldur en í kjötsöfnum. Sko mín tilfinning er sú að það hafi verið til forystukindum allt land og það hafi verið það sem að bjargaði þeim af því það var náttúrulega eftir nóg til þess að það var aftur að byggja stofnunum aftur. Það var einhvers staðar samþykkt að það þyrfti að sjá til þess að þessa stofna ekki út.
Modern sheep breeding focuses on getting as many lambs as possible from each ewe, often as many as 3 or 4, but leader sheep don't normally give birth to more than 1 lamb at a time.
Svo náttúrulega þetta ekki eins algengt þó að séu margir sem eiga einu og eina fóðurstukinn, þá ekki nær allir. Þú kynnist sauðfé einhvers staðar, þá ekki víst að það séu fóðurstukindum, það náttúrulega þeim hefur fækkað. Það ekki alls staðar og þetta núna þannig að það nokkuð margir bændur sem eiga 1, 2 eða 3 fóðurstukindur og það í sjálfu sér bara sama kerfið eins og var með allt ekki mjög margar yfirleitt. Svo einn og einn sem hefur ekki áhuga á þessu á fleiri.
They are now bred in small numbers. Sometimes there are only 1 or 2 on each sheep farm, but efforts are being made to spread the breed around the country. Once farmers realized that the breed was in danger of extinction, a society was formed, focused on breeding leader sheep. Although leader sheep enjoy much respect, and despite their numerous admirable traits already mentioned, they can often be difficult to manage, for instance during roundups, on account of their individuality and liveliness. When indoors, they will sometimes ignore mangers and divisions between stalls. Today, there is little need for leader sheep since farming techniques have changed. They're now primarily used during roundups and droving, but some farmers breed them alongside their normal farming practices for enjoyment, and often form close bonds with them. The newborn lambs of leader sheep are quicker to get on their feet than the lambs of other sheep. But here, at Brunestaders, leader sheep are bred in order to keep this unique line of sheep, which seems to possess more senses than humans, alive. Perhaps their sensitivity can be put to use in other fields, for predicting earthquakes or other natural catastrophes which humans cannot sense beforehand. But it is absolutely certain that we cannot afford to lose this link from the chain.
All right. Leadership. See, there is a thing. It is a real deal. Leadership. All right. Take 5 minutes. Hopefully you jotted a few things down. We're going to come back. So take 5 minutes. And we will start back up at 7 minutes after 10. On your mark, say go.